Welcome to episode 399 of the Geeks for the Win podcast, the tech and gaming podcast from the GeeksFTW.com, where we cover all things geeky. I'm your host, William McDonald, and I'm joined with my co-host, Stuart.
Known across the internet as Casual Terror.
And we're doing our movie TV version of the podcast this week.
Yup.
And I got a lot to talk about. I watched a lot of stuff.
Excellent. I got some stuff as well. I've got a bunch. I don't know how many you got, but I've got a lot as well.
Okay, you want to go first?
I will go first. Well, I'll start off with this. I finally watched the movie Venom.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And I was actually okay. I actually enjoyed it. I wasn't expecting to like it like I did, but it was good. I'm looking forward to Venom 2 if Venom 2 ever happens.
It's supposed to, and Carnage, right? Because isn't...
I'll be. I hope that's recast. I hope who they got to play as Carnage is recast.
Is it Woody Harrelson? Right?
Yup.
Yeah. I mean,
he's okay.
He's
Woody
Harrelson being the
not that look. Not that look. Okay, they should at least change that character design because he's in the mid credits. That's where you see him. And he looks like fucking Ronald McDonald. Like it literally.
I have no idea. I don't know.
Literally, it is literally him in a curly ass red wig. It looks bad.
Oh yeah, that does sound bad.
Let's see if I can pull up just a shot of him.
I'm just thinking like him. I'm just thinking of what I know of Cletus Cassidy, that in what I know of Woody Harrelson, that, you know, in my head, I could picture it. I have not seen Venom, so I don't know what he looked like or anything.
Honestly, I think there could have been better choices. Like who they got to play Rorschach, I think would have been great. The dude they got to play the Joker in the Gotham show.
Yeah, I don't know. Like,
okay, here's just a little. Put over here.
What?
I'm just gonna show what that looked like. What he kind of looked like.
Oh, that's bad.
Yeah, it does. It was like it's just him in a bad red wig. It didn't look good. At least I want him to change the look of that character then, because it doesn't look good. And yes, we only saw him for like, you know, maybe a minute, but yeah.
You'd think like that's because he's in an asylum, right, or whatever. So like his hair's all grown out. Like once he like breaks out, he'll probably like, you know, cut it. Yeah,
this whole like better, the whole scene was kind of like a Silence of the Lambs, like "Hello, Clarice" kind of a thing, talking to Eddie Brock. Like that's what that scene was. But yeah. But like I say, like the cast of him could have been a little bit better. That's all I'm saying. But the movie Venom, I liked it. They did some tweaking to Venom himself, and it worked for the movie. Venom was actually kind of funny. Like he made jokes, and they kind of worked. You are muted, but by the way.
Yeah, they did a big difference to Venom, right? Because he didn't go to Spider-Man first,
Oh
apparently.
yeah, yeah, and like he has like no like of the spider like qualities that he does in later in the comics or in the if any other version of Venom. It's just
So he doesn't
um
like do his own web swinging or anything like that.
no, there's none of that.
That's a
Like
shame. I always liked
there
that. Like that was always cool.
there is kind of a point where he does like jump out a window, and like the Venom suit just out of his hip kind of grabs onto a ledge and pulls him in, but that was it. um yeah, there was none of that. But like I said, I'm kind of looking forward to Venom 2. This was kind of a surprise for me that I actually enjoyed it, and that Venom made jokes and they were funny.
Yeah, my impression, or from what I could tell from pop culture and all that, was that Venom wasn't bad by any means. It just wasn't like
No, well, no,
Marvel
no,
quality.
no, yeah. Um,
Like
like
it's
to
probably
give
better
you,
than like anything DC has done so far.
yeah, yeah, except for like the Nolan Batman stuff, but yeah,
Oh yeah, I mean like DC EU. When I say that, yeah.
yeah. Um, but like to give you kind of a hint of kind of like the jokes that they kind of did. Um, like there's a scene where like Eddie kind of steps out of an elevator, and there's a huge like SWAT team kind of around and pointing all their guns at him, and one guy just yells mask, and then everybody kind of puts on like their gas masks and says copy, and then Eddie said mask, and then he kind of venoms up, and Venom yells copy, and that's kind of the
Okay.
and then Venom goes all Venom on the SWAT guys, but it was good. The special effects were good. Um, I learned something though. During like the filming, um, Tom Hardy had like an earwig in his ear, and like all of like the Venom lines were going through that earwig, so only he could hear them, because in the movie only Eddie can hear Venom talking. So like it kind of made,
Yeah.
I was like, that kind of, because like he's having a conversation literally with somebody in his head that only he can hear. That's kind of interesting. So, but I enjoyed it. It was good. I think it was worth it. So, yeah.
Okay.
What have you watched?
Let's see. Let's go with something that's been out for a while, but just recently came to Netflix. Cobra Kai.
I've been it next on my list. It is next on my list.
Yeah. Um, this was on like YouTube Premium or YouTube Red, or I
YouTube
forget which
Red.
was. Yeah, but I
Yeah.
think it's now YouTube Premium, or
Yeah.
I don't know. But which was always the weirdest thing. Like I never understood. Like I don't know. Like I guess I never took it seriously back then. Like, oh, it's a TV show being made on YouTube. Okay, sure, why not? Um, it's really good though. Like I'm not a like I'm not a huge Karate Kid fan. Like I watched them, right? I watched them all
I have,
except
I
for the
know,
newest one.
I know I've seen the first one. I pretty darn sure I've seen the second one. Have not seen the third one. I think I've seen New Karate Kid, and then I've not seen the
The
newest
next
one.
Karate Kid, I think it was
Yeah.
called the female one. Yeah,
Yes, yes, the next Karate Kid. I'm pretty sure I have seen that one.
yeah. It's pretty good, and it's just interesting. Like there's a lot of like it takes the original Karate Kid story, like what you know of it, and like kind of flips it because the main character is the Johnny from
Johnny.
Cobra Kai.
Yeah.
And like there's points where he's talking about like his past, like to someone like this kid was like, when he's talking about Daniel, and he's like I was just minding my own business with my girlfriend, and he just like hit me, and it just goes back to clips, and it's just like his point of view. Like Daniel was the bad guy. Daniel came out of nowhere. It's kind of interesting like the way the editing is and the way it shows it. Um, and it's like the story is, pretty much he's kind of like a washed out loser type character, surprised, what you would think.
Right.
And he it's funny, he's got the neighbor next door kid, just like, the mirrors karate, the original Karate Kid is like ends up getting bullied, and sees how he can handle himself, with the karate, and asks him and all that, and then he decides to finally, sure, I'll help you, and decides to build his own, like to bring back Cobra Kai, but like to do it proper, to not
Right.
do it like the dude before. And it's interesting because there's a lot of character growth in this. You definitely see like Johnny's not a bad guy. Like truly, he's not. Like he still has like he's still rough around the edges, like he's still like a culture of his time, or
Right.
or however the phrase goes, or product of his time, and so like it's like, oh, uh don't be, don't I'm gonna like when he's teaching the kid, when he's like instructing some of the students, he's like, oh, don't be a the P word, you know don't, and he uses
Right.
that word a lot and stuff, like, and it's like, well, I mean, like that doesn't really fly in today's culture, but like his message is there, he's like, don't be a pushover, don't, you got to go for
Pushover. That
it,
word, huh?
and he,
Yep. That was the P word, pushover.
yeah, and like his like he brings back the, like, was it the what's the Cobra Kai motto? Um strike, I think it's strike first, strike first, strike hard, no mercy. And like, like you end up seeing how he like interprets that a bit different than what it originally meant, from like the 80s movies and stuff like that.
Uh,
Where it's like, you need to, life's not going to give you a fair chance, so you've got to do what you can, strike first, strike hard, and life's not going to be merciful to you, so you need to take advantage of the opportunities that are presented to you, and to get ahead at no, and stuff, and it's just like it's just weird because like you just used to, if you watch the Karate Kid movies, you're like used to like Cobra Kai and that messaging and all that, like being like taboo and evil and bad, and it's like,
right.
well, if you flip the perspective, it's actually kind of cool and different, and definitely, and it's interesting because you see a definite change in like the main kid character, the kid who like moves next door, or so to speak, next to him, and that his first one he trains and stuff like that. And there's also the Ralph Macchio is also in it, of course,
Right.
as Daniel LaRusso, and he's got this like automobile dealership or whatever, and he uses the whole I'll chop prices, and in his commercials, and he uses his whole like I was a karate kid champion thing, like
I've kicked ass all over the world.
and there's like he gives a little like is it like a bonsai plant with every purchase or what, like it's just like it's funny because there's a part in it where like his commercials getting reviewed, and they're like, oh, you're whitewashing and you're not whatever, and he's like, what? No, this is what Mr. Miyagi taught. And it's just kind of funny. It's like, because he's supposed to be the good guy, but like he's got some bloodlust once he sees Cobra Kai is returned, and he's his
I've
whole
seen
like
the trailer. Yeah.
he's on like he's on a rampage, like to and doing everything he can to get it shut down and stuff like that. And it's pretty good. I like it. There's a lot of teen angst involved in this because there are a lot of kids,
Sure.
who learn karate and all this and that, and there are a lot of other like they bring back other people from the movie series. There's 2 seasons on Netflix, by the way, and they're like 10 episodes each, I think. Are they 10? Yeah, they're like 10 episodes each. And yeah, so you definitely see like it's interesting. I can't wait to hear what you like, if you actually do watch it, what your opinions of it are, because
it is kind of next on my list. Yeah.
like I'm just watching it and I'm like I was never a huge Karate Kid fan. Like I like the movies; they're all right,
Right.
Um, the song is like I love that song. I even have it as an alert. Um, on my stream, but it's just I don't know. It's just I'm watching and I'm like, why am I enjoying this as much as I am? Like this just. I was just shocked while I was watching it that I really was enjoying it like as much as I was. And like it's not like it has like a weird feel to it, like the look of it. It's like it is in modern day, but it's still kind of at points has a like 80s like movie feel to it at certain points, I guess, like with the camera filters and stuff that they use or whatever. It's kind of got that in certain ways, but it's pretty good. And there's season 3 supposed to come out next year, and I'm excited because they teased some stuff. And there's a lot of like they use a lot of footage and flashbacks and of the movies in this as well.
Cool.
So
Cool.
It's also helps refresh
I'll
you.
probably watch the first Karate Kid first, and then I'll watch this.
Yeah, there's a lot of refreshers. Like, hey, remember this? This was a thing. Hey, remember this? Yeah, like oh, okay. So if you haven't watched it, it's definitely good. If you haven't watched it in a while, it definitely does help like refresh your memory on stuff that happened. But yeah, that's Cobra Kai. It's 2 seasons on Netflix, just came out because I think Netflix picked them up or whatever. Since I don't know, is YouTube still making like original content? Like
I don't know. They're not pushing it like they think they were like when this YouTube Red first came out. So I don't know. I don't think so.
Yeah. So at least it's At least Netflix picked it up. Like Netflix is good on that. They're
Now,
good on
now
picking stuff
people will
up.
actually see this because
I'm
it's
just
on
like
Netflix.
one of the only reasons why I watched it. Like, and I remember like people saying it was really good. Like Scarfinger, I remember he was big into this show and kept talking about it being really good. Like years ago when it actually came out, you know. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, yeah, he was right. It is pretty good. So yeah, and they're short. It's a real, you know, it's 30-minute episodes, so it's real quick to get through. Um, yeah. What else you got?
I watched a movie on Netflix called Project Power.
Oh yeah, I got this on my queue.
It's got Jamie Foxx and um, uh, names escaping me. I have trouble with
Joseph
names.
Gordon-Levitt.
Yes, him. Um, and it's about basically there's this pill that for 5 minutes will give you superpowers. And each person has their own power. And you never know what your power is until you take the pill.
Huh.
And
Okay.
sometimes that power is you explode. So it's also you could die uh, just by taking the pill as well. And some people, their power
That was an
can
X-Men
kill
power.
them, can kill them. Um, like, and this is kind of in the trailer. This lady takes a pill, and her power is basically cold. Like she can like make like the air around her cold. She can like make herself cold. But she's not like oh now I can survive in the cold. No, no, she can't. She still can't survive in the cold. But her power is to make everything cold. So she ends up kind of killing herself because
Oh wow.
it's so
Yeah.
cold. When I mean cold, I mean like her breath comes out of her mouth frozen,
Yeah.
like cold, like subs, like almost absolute zero cold. Um, and Jamie Foxx, his daughter was kidnapped, and she is actually like the key to making this pill. So he is trying to find the people who are making these drugs and rescue her. And Joseph Gordon-Levitt, he's a cop who's trying to get these drugs off the street. But how do you fight people with superpowers? By when people also have superpowers, and his power is like um all of the powers. Well, most of the powers are basically derived from animals, and his power is basically the armadillo skin. So like he's just got a really tough skin. There's a guy
Okay.
in it with like the power of a chameleon, but it's actually like somewhat reasonable. Like it's not like oh he's invisible. No, you can still totally see him when he's moving because like you can't change because a chameleon can't change quickly. It changes slowly. So you just see this weird move, like this weird. It's kind of hard to describe. You kind of have to see it, and I think it's somewhat plausible, like for a chameleon guy to be running around. Like you can kind of see him, but you kind of can't at the same time. Um, and it's pretty good.
Your description just popped so many different things that I'm familiar with. It's like it sounds like a mishmash of like this meets that meets the, you know.
Yeah, I mean it's not. Yeah,
Like, oh, that sounds like a little bit of X-Men. Oh, a little My Hero right there, and then a little like, you know. I wonder, was this a comic book or something? Was this based on something? Like, is this an adaptation?
Maybe. Yeah, I forget. It might have been. Just do a quick search.
Super
Mm,
film.
no, it doesn't say it's based off anything. So no.
Okay. Interesting.
But I think it was worth it.
Okay. Well, I've got this on my list as well because it looks good. You know, a lot of people, it's, you know, it's been part of the top 10 Netflix thing. So a lot of
Right.
people are watching it.
Yeah. So what about you? What else have you watched?
Okay. Which right now, Cobra Kai is number one of the top 10 in the US today. Number two is the Smurfs.
Right.
Okay.
I saw that yesterday. I'm like, why is the Smurfs up there? And
Hey, get
Sister.
this. Sister is number four.
Yeah, I saw that
I mean,
yesterday. I'm like, what? Why?
it's a good show. I watched it growing up, but yeah. Um, the next thing, it actually broke the record for the highest like watched TV premiere on Netflix, whatever. The new season of Lucifer.
I have also been
I
watching
love this
Lucifer.
show.
I have also been watching
Oh, you
Lucifer.
have.
I finally
Oh,
got to a point where I'm okay. I started at the beginning. So I watched it all the way through. I'm now in like the middle of season 4. So I'm almost to the new
okay.
season.
Okay.
And
So
I
season
started this week.
4.
So
Season 4 is the that's
it was the
the
first Netflix
first
season.
Netflix. So
Yes.
with Eve, right?
Eve was there, yep.
Okay. And was that the one with what's it? Tom Welling as Kane? Was he in that season or no?
That was season 3.
3. Okay, I thought so. Yeah. Okay. Wow. Yeah. You man. I'm guessing you're liking it, right?
Yeah, once it's hit Netflix, like, whoa, did it do it? You could definitely tell there was a shift change with some characters. Like some characters are like, this is a totally different show for them. Like Dan.
Oh
Dan
yeah.
did a complete character flip. Once like the Netflix things happen, like Dan's now is an asshole. I don't like his character anymore.
I mean, he was kind of an asshole at the very beginning, right?
But he was a
He
likable
was a dirty
asshole.
cop character.
But he was a likable asshole, though. Now it's just like, now he's just giving Lucifer tons of shit.
I mean, because he got shit, but
Right, but
he's
it's
kind of a
his
pushover, like
character.
in
Well,
the
it
newest
just
season.
kind of seems to me like his character right now is blaming Lucifer for what happened to Charlotte. Like that's the kind of vibe
Oh
I'm
yeah.
getting from him. Like he blames
I mean,
Lucifer for no
he doesn't
reason.
understand anything that's going on though. Like that's the
No,
crazy thing. You got to think
but
of
that's the thing. Like
he's trying to make explanations.
he's blaming Lucifer for what happened to Charlotte, and even like there's no connection to that. Well, no, there's not.
I
There's
mean,
not any connection to it.
Charlotte's his stepmom, according to the
Not at that
story,
time.
right?
Not at that time.
Well, I mean,
Oh
that
yeah,
was the connection. Like That's how
Right, but
that's how he told people he knew
why
her
blame
when
him
she
that?
was his
Why blame
actual
him
mom.
that? It doesn't.
It when you lose
I mean,
someone, you just irrational. You're just irrational sometimes. It's just a weird like thing. You just try to put in, especially if you don't, like if supernatural stuff's happening around you and you're not, you don't realize that, then you're trying to like put pieces together to make sense of things and whatnot. And but yeah, it's I'm enjoying it, and I'm actually kind of surprised it beat like it has the record like for the biggest debut or whatever on Netflix for a TV show. Like it beat Umbrella Academy, which just broke the record not too long ago. I was actually kind of surprised on that because I knew it was a good show and I knew people liked it, but I didn't think it was that I didn't think it was that popular with people.
yeah,
Because more people than not that I know are not watching it. You know, just my whole litmus test.
yeah,
Like as far as I know, myself and Blue are like the only people I know before just now who I knew were watching it. Like no one else I knew was watching it, and despite me like these past few years, campaigning like, "Hey, this is a good show. You should watch it. It's really good." Like, and
yeah. Like
this is a comic book based on a comic book, by the way, if people
yeah,
didn't realize.
Vertigo,
Or
Vertigo.
Vertigo, which is the
Yeah, like
same comic line as Constantine, so
yes.
it's DC related.
I'd watched it previously up to like the beginning of season 2. It's like I knew I already liked the show. I just never went back in to watch it.
Gotcha.
But I saw like, oh, new episodes. I'm like, you know what? I know we'll probably watch this, so I'll watch it too and kind of catch up. And I'm
Yeah,
a couple episodes. I'm a couple episodes into season 4.
this was supposed to be the last season 5, and they released the first half of it. The second half's to come, but I guess they decided like, hey, we're gonna give you a 6th season and extend season 4 or season 5. So that's great. That's great to know. That we're getting more than fans originally thought. What is it? I'm trying to look through season 4.
What
I think the
threw me
first
off?
couple episodes. Oh, go ahead.
What kind of threw me off was at the end of season 3. There were these could go anywhere stories. Like that's kind of a weird, because like something big happens at the end of season 3, and
Mhm.
then you get two episodes where like, okay, nope, that didn't happen yet, but these take place. These also took place at some point, and one of them
I
was
think,
a
yeah.
complete what if. It was a complete what if. We're like, hey, here's a different universe where, hey, what if something different changed in this universe to make these characters different?
Yeah, see those episodes weren't like when Fox canceled like Lucifer like early, I think, or whatever. And they had to like restructure things or whatever, and I think those episodes like they premiered those episodes like after the fact or whatever, after season 3, weirdly enough. So
Yeah,
it's kind of, I'm not quite sure what all went there. Maybe they were like, hey, in order to get in order to get this season done, we got to maybe scrap these episodes. And then Fox was like, oh well, we'll let you air these. And then they were like, oh, okay, fine. I don't know what all went there, but that was a whole weird thing where it's like season 3 ended, but they still had a couple episodes left.
Yeah,
Or they still had a
there
couple
was a
unaired
legitimate
episodes.
end to that season, and then you got these
Yeah.
two just kind of anywhere episodes that don't connect to anything.
So my guess was it had to have been some kind of weird, like, Fox canceling them, telling them, hey, you only have these amount of episodes. And then when the internet, because when it got canceled, the internet went like crazy. I remember.
I remember that. I remember that.
So maybe Fox was like, okay, and we'll let you, or we'll, and this was also like right when the rumors of Fox being bought out were starting, I believe. I mean, so that's, that I don't know. It's just weird stuff happened, but yeah, those episodes were seemed like like they were extra, they were just like somehow cut from the season, and then they just said, hey, here's unaired episodes. I remember when that did happen. It was odd.
Okay, there are only 10 episodes in season 4, so I'm over halfway through.
Yeah. There was originally supposed to be 8, and then they gave them 10, and then I guess they saw, hey, people really like this show, and now, the first half of season 5 is 8 episodes, and then the second half will be another 8, and then gonna have a season 6. But it's a good show. Like, the cast of the show is fantastic. I feel like they all work so well together. Like there's a Tom Ellis who plays Lucifer is just charismatic as can be,
Absolutely.
like, where you're like, he's literally the devil. Like the first watching the show, I was like, I don't know how comfortable I am. Like, I really like the devil in this show. Like, I'm having some, like, it's really making me feel weird. And like, was it I'm trying to look at the cast. Yeah, I mean, it's just I like all the main actors. Like, I think they all work well. From the therapist to the what's her name, the forensic science chick,
Ella, which it took me forever to figure out. Like, I've seen her in something else. What have I seen her in? George Lopez. That's where I saw her.
Ah, okay. Interesting.
It's like, that's where I know her from the George Lopez show.
Yeah. To, like, see, Dan, I never really liked Dan much, and it's biased because he was Brother Blood in Arrow, and that's like, this came out around the same time, I think, as like around that, and I'm just like, oh, he was a bad guy. I'm not, and his character kind of was, but he does have character growth where you, like, see he's trying to change and be better and not be a dirty cop, and he does actually care for his daughter, and but yeah, it's it's just another comedy bit, him being Detective Douche and Lucifer, and the one of the most interesting parts of the show is the fact, and they touch on this in season 5, which the trailers are out in the whole thing with season 5 is his Lucifer has a twin brother, Michael.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, but they touch on this aspect a lot in season 5. Lucifer doesn't lie.
Yeah.
And it's fascinating to think, to when you really understand that in season 5, like when they reiterate that, and you just think back to the whole series, and it's like, no, he's always telling the truth. He's never
Oh yeah,
lying.
he's
Like,
and he that's the thing that's he's constantly saying he will never lie. He has never lied. He just he's just selectively omits things. That's what he does.
yeah, and like it, which I mean, like, not saying something, I don't think is technically lying. I know a lot of people think that it is, but I feel that, like, you know, just because you didn't say something doesn't mean you're lying. You just didn't say it, or didn't think it was relevant, or like, as long as you don't lie to someone when they ask you something straight up, or so anyways, that's a whole morality thing. But this is one of my favorite shows. It's right now, like, and it has been since like season 1. it's
Yeah.
it's it's well done. I went back, like, not like over like a couple months ago, and watched the show Tom Ellis was in before, the British show. I think it was called Miranda. It was like some sitcom with some, where he was like kind of a love interest, or what, and it was bizarre seeing him in it. Like, and also, I've talked about Once Upon a Time. He was the first Robin Hood in that.
Okay.
The first time they showed Robin Hood, like, it was him, and they did a good job explaining why it was someone else the next time, like why the Robin Hood looked differently. They finally like got around to, like, he had some magical thing where it changed his appearance or whatever.
He got hurt enough, and then he regenerated.
But no, they had said, like, oh yeah, I had this magical thing because people are always after me, so I gotta, you know, kind of change my appearance if I need to, like, and it's like, okay, that's, because when I saw him like in Once Upon a Time as Rob, I'm like, oh my god, that's Lucifer. That's crazy. But yeah, it's a great show, and he definitely makes the show. Like, I can't lie, I love every time he has like he sings, like, on the
Oh yeah,
piano. It's so
he's a
good.
real good singer.
It's
He's
so
really good.
good. Like, and the songs they choose for him to do that are just so great, with like the story of it. Like,
Oh yeah, yeah.
this,
They're selective.
yeah, it's a good show. There's, like I said, there's a reason why it's uh what's it called? It broke records. And it's not, Netflix is right, 99% match for me. So yeah, I'm glad you're watching it now, or getting caught up. It's been
Yeah.
great. I've enjoyed it, and they've done a great job with, like, it makes me, I I'm gonna wait till it's over, till the show's over, and then pick up the comics,
Mm.
because I don't want to be spoiled by the actual the comics in the show, because I'm sure they change certain things, but I'm enjoying the show so
Yeah.
much, I don't want to. But it is something where I do want to maybe, like, look into the comics to see, like, because there's probably a lot more that they're not touching on, stuff like that. Like, all adaptations, you can't
Right.
touch every single piece of source material, but and what was it, yeah, and he made a cameo in Crisis, the Crisis CW, like, mini or crossover event.
Oh really?
Lucifer did.
Okay.
Yeah, Constantine needed like they needed to get into hell or something like that for a reason. I'm not gonna say it, but they need to get into hell for a reason, and they like crossed over. They like it was all about going to different universes and stuff like that. Universes were ending, so they like they made a connection to where Constantine knew Lucifer, and they had Lucifer owed him a favor and stuff like that. That was a definitely big shock to see like that pop up, you know. So, but yeah, that's I guess what else you been up to? What's another thing you've been watching?
Let's see. I watched a documentary on Netflix. I didn't really plan on watching this documentary. Just kind of turned it on and started watching it. Called Tread.
Okay, looking this
And
up.
I watched it a while back, so I've got to look this up again. It is about something that happened in Colorado.
Oh, I've heard about this. Yeah.
And this was national news at the time, but it went away quickly. Like a dude, he basically used a bulldozer with a bunch, and he put a bunch of like steel and like encased a bulldozer, and just ran through a small town.
He turned a bulldozer into a tank, basically.
Essentially, yes. Yes, he turned a
Yeah.
bulldozer into a tank, complete with guns. Like there were guns like that he shot out of it, and he kind of went through this small town in Colorado, because in his mind there were the town officials were out to get him. So he's okay. I'm gonna get him back, and he methodically went to like, okay, I'm gonna go to this business, destroy this business, go to this person's home, destroy this person's home, this business, town hall, and just kind of went through. And yeah, like it starts out at first like, man, this guy, it seems like the town kind of is out to get him, yeah. And then it starts going on like, oh no, they're not. This is all in his fucking head. He is just, he sees himself as larger than life, and yeah, he just got in his own head.
It's always scary when it's always tends to be like the most crazy people are like also very skilled at stuff. That's always dangerous when that happens. Like,
Well,
why
yeah,
can't
like,
why it's like what if this dude was just a lazy bum and he was, like nothing would have happened. He would have been too but no, he's like
well, like,
skilled where he can turn a bulldozer into a tank. Like that's the
yeah,
scary
well,
part of
he was in the military. I forget which branch, but through it, he learned welding, and turns out he was really good at it, like really good at welding, and he ended up starting his own business. He owned a muffler shop, and it was very successful. To where like he didn't even have to work all the time. Where because like he basically he used his business to supply his snowmobiling habit. Like that's kind of what he wanted to do all the time, was go snowmobiling, and it was successful enough for him to do that a lot. And just through these things, it kind of seemed to him like the town was out to get him, because he didn't grow up there. He moved there, so it's a small town. He's the new guy. We're not going to make this out of towner successful. That's what his mind went. That's where his mind went. Even though he was successful. And yeah, and like, yeah, it was natural news for a day. because the very next day something bigger happened, and that was the death of Ronald Reagan. So it kind of
Okay.
it kind of overshadowed this. But yeah, it was an interesting documentary. I wasn't planning on watching it, but I ended up doing it, and it was kind of fascinating. And it's on
Okay.
Netflix. It came out around like the same day that the Project Power came out. So it was on the top on the top 10 on Netflix. That's kind of how I found it.
Gotcha. When you said documentary, I was hoping you were gonna talk about a different one.
No, and I think I know which documentary you're going to talk about.
Yeah, I did watch a documentary called High Score.
I started it. Put it that way, I started it.
It's fascinating. Like it's well made. I feel, and it's interesting because it goes through like the history of video games, like Space Invader and Pac-Man and stuff like that, and then like arcades were popular, and and then people decided to hey, we're doing great on these video games already, or these games, and we're bored with them. And then hey, these students at MIT, I think it was like MIT or whatever,
Yes.
they're like some crazy college like that. They're like, hey, we're gonna build these like enhancement kits for arcades, and like it goes like through history of stuff like that, and then like hey, role-playing games inspired by D&D and other stuff, and they touch
I
on like the oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say I've almost finished the first episode of it, and that's what that was. That was like the arcade, like the enhancement kits and all that stuff. And I almost didn't watch this because I'm like, I've seen so many video game documentaries over my life. What else is there? I've seen all this shit.
I mean,
Like,
each episode they touch on something different, and I did learn some stuff. Like some stuff, I'm like, okay, yeah, I knew that, I know that, I know that, but oh, that's okay, that's interesting. I didn't. It's
right? Like,
interesting how like the was it uh what's Ken and Roberta Williams? I knew about them, but the people who did didn't they do Sierra? They created Sierra
oh yes, okay,
games.
yeah, yes. Like those names sound
Yeah,
familiar, but I can't play them.
but yeah, like she goes into like how she was like she played a game or whatever, and then decided like I'd like to write again, and her process of it, and they interviewed her where she was thinking about it, and then how she like presented it to her husband, and her husband was like, yeah, that's okay, we can do this, and how about we actually integrate graphics and stuff. And it's just fascinating, like it's just stuff about, but more details on that stuff. And then there's an episode about like the Sega Genesis, and how like their plan to battle Nintendo, and like the person they got to I forget who it was that I watched this like right before we were supposed to record last week. So it's been at least over a week since I watched it, but like the stuff like, hey, the guy they got in charge of Sega is like, this is my battle plan to attack Nintendo and stuff. We're gonna lower the price. We're gonna defeat Mario. We're gonna add sports. We're gonna make 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 it cool for teens. Like advertisements on Sonic, and how Sonic was cool and edgy and stuff. Stuff like stuff that like It's just interesting, you know. And then they go into like it's only 6 episodes, so it's not, and they're not really long episodes. They're like 40 minutes, you know,
Yeah.
around 40 minutes each, and they each touch on stuff. Like each episode touches on a variety of different things that end up like encapsulating a theme for the episode, you know. Like
Yeah, like
the final episode. Oh, go ahead.
no, finish, go ahead.
I was gonna say the final episode is all about like 3D games. Like, hey, this is Star Fox, and this is, you know, this is how it got. And then they talked to John Romero and about Doom and all the stuff behind that, and how like they made Doom. They gave the first like part of Doom for free,
Mm-hmm.
and then you had to order the other two parts and you know, it's just stuff that I had no clue about, you know, because like I wasn't really that into like I wasn't a PC gamer back then, you know. I was only a kid, so it was only consoles and stuff like that. So you know, just a fascinating like history lesson on video games throughout, you know, like like late 70s to like 90s.
Yeah, like I kind of I kind of saw the description, like the first episode. I'm like, where, you know, it's like, oh, like Space Invaders and Missile Command and Pac-Man. I'm like, okay, how many times am I going to hear that Pac-Man was based off a pizza and that his original name was going to be Puckman? Like, I was like, I've heard all this shit so many times before. Like, I don't really care to watch, so I've already know about. But then I actually started watching. I'm like, okay. But then it actually it got to like the part where I was like, you know, oh, who designed the first cartridge? The guy you've never heard of before for a system you've never heard of before. I'm like, that was cool.
There's a lot of
That was
stuff like that.
fascinating.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, there's a bunch of interesting stuff like that where it's like, you know, they do touch on like the bits you have heard about, you know, like, hey, Mario Jumpman, all this and that, and then, you know, but then they go
Right.
like deep into stuff that you don't really know too much about. And they talk about there was one aspect of it where they talked about because back in the day you were able to call Nintendo to help you if you were stuck on games, like if you
Nintendo
there was a
Power,
number on
yeah.
the manual.
That, yeah.
Well, no,
I
it
no
wasn't
no no
Nintendo
no.
Power. It was,
Yes, it was the Nintendo Hotline. Yeah, I do remember hearing stories from about that stuff. Yeah.
and they like interviewed someone who like he was a teenager and he got that job, and he like they talked about like how he like cheated on his test, you know, to get there. And then he realized, oh crap, I need to spend a lot of time knowing these video games because, you know, they don't get a lot of time with them before, and, you know, before they launch, and, you know, like stuff
Yeah.
like that. And that was really fascinating. I thought, like, seeing the whole, like, you know, that was a thing. Like, I remember seeing on the manual, like, you could call the Nintendo hotline and stuff. I never did it, but
Oh no.
you know, I always thought that was kind of weird, you know, because it's like, oh no, that costs money, like per minute.
Yeah.
Like, no,
Yeah.
no, no.
I kind of do that as a kid. I'm like, no. I get in trouble.
Like
Also,
you
I have
only ever if it was
talking on the phone. No, I don't want to. I don't. Who wants to talk on the phone? Nobody wants to talk on the phone. That's anxiety.
oh yeah,
No,
I was
no talking on the phone. Don't want to talk on the phone.
I was with you there. But it was and you know, of course, back then it was always like, you know, 800 numbers are the only numbers that are free. Like you just, you know, because all the commercials were all about 800 numbers and stuff like that. So if it
Yeah.
wasn't an 800 number, then yeah, you definitely didn't call it. But yeah, I try not to call. I still try not to call if I don't have to.
Oh yeah. Totally.
But yeah, it's very interesting. A lot of stuff, you know. Then there's also a part where like during the Sega episode where they talk about like EA Sports and the John Madden football stuff and how they were gonna like the person who was gonna make it was talking to John Madden and was like, "Hey, what about we do this like style of football?" And he was like, "No, that's not football. That you know, it was like fewer players on the team because of what
Mm,
the limits were for the technology at the time, and then like Sega,
sure.
16-bit came out, and then they were able to actually like do the full rosters and stuff like that, and just like it's a lot of fascinating stuff. I think you'd actually enjoy it. Like I said, there are a lot, and there was like the Nintendo World, like they interviewed someone who was like the Nintendo World Champion, I think.
Mm, okay.
And he was like, "Yeah, I didn't qualify like the first time." And then my parents, like, we drove like so many thousands of miles to Florida for the very last one.
That was a movie.
Yeah.
No, sorry.
So that I could qualify, and like they talk, and they talk about how like Tetris was like, Tetris had just come out, and that was one of the big things for the championship was Tetris, and that the champion, the person who won, wasn't real familiar with Tetris as much, and he ended up like when he like got like third or second or whatever the first time he competed, and they gave him like a Game Boy with Tetris, and that's where he like got familiar with Tetris and whatnot, and just a lot of fascinating stuff. Like you like I said, it is a lot of the stuff you've heard from documentaries in the past that don't really like go into all kinds of detail, or but they start with that stuff and then they actually go into the detail and tell you stuff that related to those stories you've heard that you never really like thought about or knew existed. Like I never thought I never I never thought I wanted to know how the Nintendo hotline stuff worked, but that was interesting as hell to watch and to learn.
I think I saw an Ask Me Anything on Reddit where somebody from a Nintendo hotline didn't ask me anything.
Yeah,
Um,
but
but yeah, like
it's pretty good.
I turned on that first episode. This was like when it came out. I turned on that first episode, and I was like, "Oh, I made the worst video game of all time, E.T. For Atari." I'm like, "Okay, I've heard this off," and I didn't watch it until today. And then I'm almost done with the first episode. So, but yeah,
Yeah, it's like
I was like, I've heard all this shit before. Okay, there is some new stuff in this. Okay, I'll give it that.
yeah, but so it's overall I enjoyed it. Like it's not a huge investment because it's I mean at least I didn't think it was a huge investment. It was just something I watched like at night, like when I was right
Right.
before bed or whatever. Just like something that wasn't gonna like excite me or put me in a mood where I'm like I can't sleep after watching this dramatic storyline where this thing happened, and like stuff like that. I
Sure.
try to find stuff that's not gonna like have
Okay.
me just
One.
like
Okay. One more episode. One more episode. One more. Oh fuck! It's 3 o'clock in the morning. One more episode, by the way. One more. Oh shit! 4 o'clock. One more. Shit! I gotta wake
well,
up
it's
in the
not
morning.
just that. It's like I was saying, like you watch something and you're like, okay, I'm done, and then it's just it was just so like crazy, like what happened in that storyline, that you're just like sleeping and you're just like thinking about it, and you're just like can't, you're trying to go to sleep, and you're just like, that put me in a place where I can't sleep right now. Like,
No, see, this is how I go to sleep. I try to prep a dream. That's how I always go to sleep. By the way, I always try to prep a dream. Never works. But
I
when
was
I
about to say,
when I like I just let my imagination go. Like I was like, okay, okay, so I just watched this kind of thing happen. How would Goku do that in this situation? And that's where I go. It's usually like, what if Goku did that? Like, what would Goku
Interesting.
do in that situation? And then that's usually how I go to sleep.
Yeah, like I try like if I'm like say for like Lucifer, I try not to have the last episode of like that's available be the last thing I watch before I go to sleep. Stuff like that. Like I try not to put myself in a position where it's like, a cliffhanger or something is the last thing.
Sure,
Like because you can't do
sure,
anything about that. It's not like you can just watch one more episode, like you were
right.
saying, and stay up till like three in the morning. You're just stuck there with your thoughts, and it's like, oh my god, no.
Yep.
It's
Yeah.
always
Okay.
better to like have those thoughts simmer throughout the day or the evening. Have some time for those thoughts to settle. But yeah. But yeah, High Score, it's another one that's been like very popular on Netflix. Like
Yeah.
been in their top 10 the past sometime in the past couple weeks. What else you got?
Um. Let's see. I only got a couple more things. Going to anime. Uh, I watched something on Crunchyroll. It's only available on Crunchyroll. Called The God of High School,
Oh, I did see this. Yeah. Right.
and it's
I've
only
heard of this.
available
Yeah.
on Crunchyroll because it's a Crunchyroll original, and not
Oh, okay.
like a Netflix original anime, but like it's actually a Crunchyroll original because Crunchyroll is branded everywhere in the show. I was
Oh,
like,
wow.
that's
Okay.
funny. It's a Korean show. Um, it is from a webtoons comic, which I've seen ads for all the time and never read one though, but I know of it. Where it's a tournament basically, where um where the students in high school fight to see who's the best fighter of Korea, the best, high school. And it's also one of those animes where it's like, okay, I'm going to uh I'm going to stomp on the ground and a big old whirlwind is going to come out of my foot. It's one of those.
Gotcha.
And it's kind of fascinating.
It's what casual people think all anime is.
Yes. It's that anime. Yes, it is that anime. Um and it's good. The main I can't quite tell you the story because I'm confused on what there's like multiple different storylines going on. There's the tournament stuff. There's stuff that's going on behind the scenes of the tournament with the tournament creators and stuff. Like he like used a superpower like to like teleport a giant hand onto an island and squished a bunch of people and left in a giant handprint on the island for I don't know why. They were a bunch full of lawyers trying to sue him, I guess. I don't know. What that was the thing that happened. And then there's assassins trying to kill the presenters or the people behind the scenes. I don't know why. It's not really explained. Um, and then you got the main characters who are completely oblivious to anything going on except for the tournament. Like, okay. I don't know. I can't tell you the story because I don't fucking know the story. And I've seen like 9 episodes. And I don't know what the story is. Like, like
Interesting.
They acknowledge that there's weird powers going on because the main characters don't have those abilities, but they're still like insanely strong, like inhumanly strong. But like some people can like summon like these, you want to call them like personas, because that's kind of what it seems like to me from the game Persona. Is like, I'm going to stand here while a giant shark bites you and sends you to the hospital. Okay, and like people like, okay, this is the world. This is what the world we live in. Like, okay, like you were kind of spot on when you said this is what normal people think all anime is. That's exactly what this
Yep.
what it is. And it's like, all right, cool.
Yeah, the
I
dub
guess
for this just started, so
oh, there is a dub. Okay, because I've been watching the sub.
yeah, they're on 2 episodes so far. I've been keeping an eye on this one.
Like I said, and it's
Just 'cause,
Korean,
any
which
anime,
right, any anime
any
at all.
anime
Hello,
is welcome right now.
hello. I'm in a drought. But yeah, I've been watching that. I will finish it at least. Because I'm assuming this is not going to be like a one that keeps going like a Naruto or a Dragon Ball or a Black Clover, and it'll have an end.
Yeah, I'm sure it will. Trying to look.
What else have you got?
Where is uh wait, hold on. 100. Okay. I watched another. It's kind of a documentary style show, but not really. Like it's like a. It's called. It's kind of a documentary slash reality show
Okay.
called 100 Humans Life Questions Answered. Where like these people they are kind of like trying to answer questions with like they have 100 people and then they use them as like test subjects type of thing. So it's kind of like it's kind of like a reality show meets a like discovery type show, like a Mythbusters type thing.
And their questions are brought up on Family Feud.
No, it's like the first episode. I've only watched the first episode. Um, but it's the trailer kind of got me like intrigued. The first episode they were all about like the sexual psyche, all this and that, like like people are like uh are people attracted to other or to people in uniform more than not, and then they had
Okay.
like actors. They had like a speed dating scenario where they had actors um dressed up as in uniforms, like cop, like different uniforms, like cop, nurse, janitor, fast food worker, stuff like that. And then they like had a different group of people do the same thing with the same actors saying the same story, but they weren't in uniform, so it was still like, hey, I'm a janitor and I do this and I'm that, that, and whatever, and stuff like that. And then like they had one where it was like does do people with higher sperm count, are they better dancers? Apparently that's like a urban myth or something. I don't know. I've never heard that before, but they like, hey, we got, they got people to volunteer. They were like, "Hey, raise your hand if you're willing to dance for us. Raise your hand if you're a man. Keep your hand up if you're a man. Keep your hand up if whatever. Keep your hand up if you're willing to give us a sperm sample." Like that's how they weeded out the people. Like,
Okay.
to participate. And I mean, as far as that goes, that was like BS for the most part. But there's some interesting stuff. Like the trailer talks about like one of the things that got me in the trailer was like how you hang the toilet paper roll.
I was
Why
just
people
watching that.
like yeah, like
Yeah.
that's one of the things. It's like that was like, oh, they're gonna cover stuff like that. That's kind of interesting. Like you know like because people are crazy when it comes to that. Like, oh no, you have to roll it under, oh no, you have to keep it over. And what's your preference, by the way?
Well, my bathroom is poorly designed, and the toilet roll is literally right here. So like it literally touches my hip when I'm sitting on the toilet. So I'm like, okay, nope.
Gotcha.
So it's put on the counter, not even on the thing. Hey, what's up, Joe?
Hey,
Next week,
Josiah. Yeah,
episode 400. Yep, next week.
crazy. Yeah. But I don't know, I don't really have a huge preference, but like if I actually think about it, like I would, I guess, associate people with like over, because it won't like, at least that way it won't like hit the wall or whatever. Like
Well, I've heard it depends on whether you have a cat or not. That also determines, because if you go over,
I
that cat is going to scratch it and just unroll the whole thing. If you go under,
yeah.
it won't happen.
Yeah, I don't know. If I really think about it, I would say like over, because you don't want it to drag and hit the wall or hit whatever, and safety wise. But like really and truly, I don't know. I don't really think about it. I just do it. I just put it on the roll, or the I put the roll on the holder, and
Yeah,
yeah.
when I did have a bathroom that was actually designed for a big person, um, I didn't care. Didn't care. It just went on.
But there are a lot of these like things where people are like, they'll live and die on that hill, like
Yeah.
arguments like that. And this show supposedly like it's supposed to like tackle that. And I've only watched the first episode, and it was interesting. They're around 30 something to 40 minutes. So yeah, they're definitely not super long. And there's only, how many are there? There's
Also,
8.
give you
So
another bathroom tip for the fellas living with ladies, because guys always get yelled at for leaving the toilet seat up, even though the lady could just as easily put the toilet seat back down, because we gotta put it up for ourselves. But here's what I do. I put them both down every time, because you can't say I left it up, because I surely didn't. I put the lid down. I put the seat down and then the lid, because then
okay, yeah.
they still have to put it up as well. And you know what? Living with my mom and my sisters, once I started doing that, they never even mentioned it. So it's a good way of like, okay, if I gotta put it up, so do you.
Yeah. Man, it looks like that toilet paper episode is the last one. Which, what a tease, right? Like
It was in the
it being in the
trailer.
trailer.
It was like the trailer.
Yeah, but yeah, it's something that I'll like maybe watch. I'm not gonna like binge watch, but I'll watch an episode here and there. I plan on it. So You got anything else?
Got one more thing, and it's something we've talked about before, but I'm kind of caught up now. I've not seen this week's episode though. Plunder.
Oh, you're more caught up than I am then.
Yeah, I almost done with Plunder because I think there's only a couple episodes left in the dub. And boy,
It
you were
takes a
right. That
huge
show,
turn, doesn't it?
Like when you said, "Oh, there's time travel involved," I'm like, okay, yeah, wasn't expecting that. Like, okay, well,
Yeah.
okay, no, the time travel. Oh, they're not going to the past; they're going to the future. Oh no, they did go to the past, but they're in the future. But it's like the past now. Oh,
It's like it's not just time travel, right? It's like a alternate dimension travel too, right? Or something
no,
like it's
they
weird.
straight up
Like,
went to the past.
oh, did they? Okay.
Yeah, because like the people who lived that long, like they remember them. Like that dude's father totally remembers fighting him when they were in school.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I remember that part. Yeah. I've I think the last episode I watched was when they encountered what's her name as a little kid? The I forget what her name is.
Nana.
The one who can do the yeah, yeah. When they encounter her, I think that was the
Oh, so
last one.
you haven't seen where they okay.
No, I need to. I have it all ready to
Sorry,
go. I
I
don't know.
didn't mean to spoil a bit for you, but okay. But no, that is
Yeah,
not an alternate universe. That is the history.
gotcha. Okay. But yeah, it's crazy. Like it just takes a huge turn, and
And it
just
turns
like, oh
again.
wow.
It turns
Oh,
again.
okay.
There's no like oh thing.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm like weary to catch up on anime because it's coming out so slowly, if at all.
Right?
Because it's anime has definitely been impacted by COVID
Yeah.
quite a bit.
It's not keep it on schedule. Like there was like when I did catch up to the dub of Plunder, there was 2 weeks before the next episode came out.
Yeah,
Because
and I
they
just
missed a
informed
week.
you that there's
Yeah,
an anime
which
we've been upset that you thought was never gonna get finished dubbed.
I was worried it wouldn't, and I was like,
You
okay, I'm gonna have to get on the sub of this.
Yeah. So there's anime is slowly coming back, and there's new series that I'm seeing that are popping up now too. Like you were talking about the God of High School that's popping up dubbed, and then
I honestly did
the
not think that was gonna get a dub.
yeah, and there's some other ones that I'm just waiting for more episodes to pile up because I have no self control when it comes to anime, and I'm trying
Oh
to be
no.
better with that. I'm trying to wait for episodes to pile up and then binge them all.
Well, the thing is, like I look at like the simul dub on like Funimation. I'm like, uh, nothing really grabs me right now. Like I kind of want to get back into Fire Force, and I've been saying this for a while. I want to get back into Sword Art, but
Oh,
nothing other
yeah, I need to
than
finish that.
nothing other than like the stuff I've already been watching has like nothing new has grabbed me. And like I even looked on
Yeah,
like
I went.
okay, outside of dub, what about subs? What's new that's going to grab me? No, there's not really anything this season that's really kind of grabbing me.
Yeah, there's some stuff that I'm like waiting for more episodes to accumulate, but yeah, I started to rewatch or to get back into Sword Art, the last season, Alicization War, something,
Mm-hmm.
whatever. Man, that the Alicization, the first like Alicization series, like season was, I think it's Sword Art season 3, and then Alicization Wars is season 4 technically. But see, like they go crazy,
Mm,
like they go because the regular Alicization, I think there's 2 parts to that. So that's why I say like the Alicization War of something or whatever, that would be a different season. I don't know. It's
technically,
weird.
technically, like the story arcs are the seasons. So like the Gun Gale stuff was a season, so that was technically season 3, and then there was the Elfheim stuff. That
Well,
was
that's all
technically season
confusing.
4. Yeah, that's why I was like, when you said it was season 3, I'm like, kinda, but it kind of wasn't at the same time.
I mean, how they release them, I guess I would say.
Yeah,
But anyways, the it's interesting. I'm liking it. It's there's some weird stuff that's going on that I can't wait for you to catch up on so we can talk about some weird, like, because it goes beyond just, hey, this is an MMO when we're like, we're in it virtually. Like they go into some crazy, way more sci-fi stuff. And that's all I will say. And I enjoyed the dub. The dub of it's pretty good too. Like Josiah was in chat. I don't know if he's still watching, but he's like, whenever whenever I mention anime, he still thinks dubs are bad. And I'm like, no, for the most part, dubs are pretty decent, if not
yeah.
good. Like,
There was one complaint that I saw about dubs that I do like. Okay, I get you on that, and that is the number of voice actors who do dubs is very limited.
I was about to say, you'll hear the same voice actors a lot of the
Yes,
times,
yeah,
but
and you will definitely hear a lot of the same people a lot. Like I do wish
that's the
that
reason why they're
the
not
that voice
terrible though.
actors would expand and have like new people.
But I mean, at least it's not, at least they're using people that are known to be
Yeah,
good
but
at
like
voice
yes,
acting.
you're right. But at the same time, it's like they are a lot of people though. Like they don't do voices; they only do their own voice.
Or variations of it, like
Yeah, so it's like, yeah, I know
it's a
this
little
person
higher
because
pitched for younger. Yeah.
it's just like you sound. I can't tell you what character you are just from your voice because you voice 100 characters. Or like you get
Hey, it's
somebody
Railgun.
like Tom Kenny. It's like, oh my god, dude's got a range. Dude's got a range. But like you don't have that in anime most of the time from like a lot of people who do anime.
Yeah, was it
There
whoever
there are
voices
people who
Railgun? She's in everything. She's in like almost every anime. It seems like
if I've looked this up. I know.
she's in a lot of stuff because I'm always like, hey, that's Railgun.
Yeah, and really once I heard Monica, her first name's Monica, Chikudo's Bulma. I started hearing her everywhere too.
There are some infrequent ones where I'm like, oh, that's kind of weird because that's just Lucy from Fairy Tale. That's her voice, but playing or voicing someone else. Like there are some weird ones that aren't as often, but when you do hear it, you're like, oh, that's a little jarring. Cause
Okay, that's not who I thought it was. The chick who voiced Lucy, though, I hear her everywhere.
I don't hear her as much as like other ones, but yeah, it is, or at least straight up Lucy. I don't hear,
Yeah.
as much.
She at least has some range,
Yeah,
but some people don't.
and it's jarring just because like I'm such a huge fairy tale fan. It's one of my I named my dog Urza. That tells you how much I enjoyed that show. Like, so yeah, it's definitely interesting, dude. But there's not
heck,
a lot like.
one of our emotes on our Discord is a fairy tale emote.
Is it?
Yeah, dude.
I haven't really looked at the emotes on Discord. Oh, okay. I never knew that was there. Huh.
I added a couple. I need to update that rip one because that's not the current rip anymore.
But yeah, it's anime dubbed is it's good. I enjoy it. It's good enough.
Yeah.
And I feel like it has been for a while now. Like it's not just outrageously bad.
It has
like,
been. It's been. Yeah, it's not like it was like say in the 90s, which people point to like, oh, just anime dubs are bad. Like they're not in characters and stuff like that. Like no, and I have the opinion that the only reason that a bunch of people like sub is because they don't know the language. So they can't really, so they don't focus on how good that character sounds and kind of what that person is saying and how they say it, because they have no idea what they're saying. They can only read the subtitle, and that's all they get.
There's a lot of good dubs from the 90s, though. I feel.
Yeah, there are some.
Like one of my favorites, Yu Yu Hakusho. I think is great.
You're meshy.
Don't watch the movies. Don't watch the movies because I tried watching the movies and the dubs are not the same people and they're horrible and I couldn't watch them and I'm sad because I can't watch the movies because they're that bad. Like, why did you not use the TV series cast? Like, I think they were trying to like not pay them or not spend a lot of money and that's why they ended up using a different, and it's just bad. It's really bad, Stuart. Like, I was so excited when I discovered, hey, there's Yu Yu Hakusho. There's 2 Yu Yu Hakusho movies, and I try to watch them.
Have you ever heard of the big green dub of Dragon Ball?
Oh, we've talked about the Dragon Ball. We had a game, remember?
Oh yeah, you're right.
Yeah, and I did really well. I got like all of them.
You did. Yeah, you're right.
One?
Yeah, and that's where we talk about the big green dub, which is so fucking.
That
bad.
was mostly just because I did so well, mostly just because I knew the lines. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you could tell point out which scenes they were
through
from.
through context. You could tell. But that big green dub is so bad, so bad.
There's a lot. Yeah, a lot of them were pretty bad. Yeah. But there's some. I mean, I don't know. Like the only sub that I've ever really watched like is Super, just because I couldn't wait like a year and a half for like when I finally realized that no, it wasn't coming out anytime soon, which you were like, oh no, it's only going to be a couple weeks off, and
that's what it always is. Also, a big show like Super, why a year and a fucking half?
Yeah, I couldn't wait that long. Like, there's no way
Also,
I could wait that
I've
long. And
heard that the dub of Super actually isn't that good.
I've heard similar things, yeah, which is
Like
unfortunate because
outside of like the main
I,
cast, like the new people is like it's not great.
yeah, it's unfortunate because I don't like Goku subbed. I don't like the
No,
original. Like, oh, it's so bad. Like,
yeah, Sean Schmiel, is that his name? Like that is Goku. Like he
oh,
is Goku.
definitely, he is
Like,
Goku for sure. Like
even though that wasn't even my first Goku, he is my preferred Goku because like
like it,
when I first watched Dragon Ball, it was the Ocean sub. Like that
I can't
was
remember what it was for me. Yeah, but yeah, he because he really works on it. Like you can tell like his tone changes. Like the go
mhm.
when Goku gets serious, his tone changes, and you're like,
Yeah.
oh shit. Like, he does a great job. Yeah, him and Chris Sabat,
Mm-hmm.
Vegeta.
Yeah.
I think he's Vegeta and Piccolo, right?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, he's great too. Like there are some pretty good, yeah, but I've heard there are some that are not that great. Like some choices they made for
Yeah.
the super dubbed. I can't
Yeah.
think of any off the top of my head, but
The one that comes to my mind is um, the tournament between Universe 7 and 6. There was that one robot guy. I think it was, I can't remember his name. I want to say like Magma or something like that. The choice they made for him, I've heard, and it was like, why? What went through your mind for that choice? Because they made an artistic choice for that one. Like it wasn't even just
yeah.
here are the lines or the actor they did. It was what they did with that character dubbed. Like, why did you do that?
But was it the one they got for Frost? I think
That
wasn't
was
that the
that was
original
unique.
Frieza?
It was his
And that was
brother.
the brother of. It was the brother. Yeah, it was the brother, and
Yeah,
so that was interesting. That was clever. That was a clever
that was
like thing they
that's
did.
kind of what I thought. I was like, that's a neat idea. Yeah, that one's
Yeah.
interesting.
So they they have done some interesting stuff with it, but yeah, it's just I don't know. And also like I could do that. I could watch Dragon Ball Super subbed because it was a thing where like I'm not doing anything else. I'm just watching this. I am
Yeah,
focused just on this solely because I care that much about, Dragon Ball Z and Super and all that I can put down my phone and, only have one screen on and, like, oh, it's Saturday, the new episode of Super subbed is out. I'm watching it. You know, that was the thing for me while that was still airing. But yeah, so
yeah. Plunder.
uh,
That's actually it for me. Do you have others?
I got one other thing, but before we exit out of anime, did you see My Hero is back?
OVAs, right?
Or is it OVAs?
I think so.
Okay, I don't know. I just saw the list. I go to this website and it just shows like lists of newest stuff, and it just says like My Hero Academia, whatever, episode 1. I'm just like I'm not sure what that is. I haven't really looked too into it, but like I said, it's
Yeah,
just a
I want
third party
to.
site I go to see what's new, and then I find out where I have to watch it. Because what is it? Like Funimation and Crunchyroll and all those sites, they aren't really the best like way to it's much, at least for me, I think third-party sites handle like release, like being able to quickly see what new came out a lot easier.
Where
Especially when
did
you
I
can
see it
like
was OVAs? I don't know.
uh, trying to look on Funimation myself to see what this is. But Funimation wants to take forever to load.
Funimation site just sucks. Their app is also the worst thing I've ever used.
Yeah,
Like,
okay, it is OVAs. Yeah. Make It Do or Die Survival Training Part 1.
that's where I saw it. Yeah. Like the Funimation app on my Fire TV, I cannot pause it. I literally cannot pause.
And the apps,
I hit the pause button. I have to hold down the button to pause the damn thing and keep holding it down. And then when I let go, it unpauses. Like, that's not how that's
oh,
supposed
that's
to
horrible.
work. That's not
Yeah.
how that's supposed to work at
I was about to
all.
say, and originally the Funimation apps were a lot worse. Like
They
they've gotten
were.
better, but they're not by far great. So yeah, I've got my Xbox hooked up to that's my media player right now. I've got that hooked up to my surround sound. You know, I use that for Netflix, you know, Verve to watch Crunchyroll, High Dive, Rooster Teeth stuff, and then all the other any Netflix, Hulu, YouTube stuff. I just have that all set up through that. You know, also have my Connect hooked up so I can say, pause, play, stuff like that, and not volume up, volume down, like get some use out of it, right? Like you don't even need that anymore. You can actually hook up uh your home or
Mm-hmm.
Echo
Yeah.
to control like Xbox and stuff now, but like I have the original Xbox, so I can't, you know, I've got to have like I have the Connect hooked up anyways just for the IR, to control stuff. Cuz like with the new Xboxes, they have the IR stuff built in, like the
Yeah.
S and the X, I think.
Yeah.
Anyways, last thing I've been watching, I'm not finished with. I know you're gonna hate me for it, but Umbrella Academy season 2.
That took you a while. You haven't finished it?
It did, but like when I was about to start to watch it, Lucifer came out, and I'm not gonna lie, I like Lucifer a lot more. I've had more time invested into it, but yeah, I've been watching season 2, and I am. Let's see what episode I'm on. I think I'm on. I can't remember. The last thing I remember was slight spoilers for Umbrella Academy season 2. Oh, I'd help if I went to season 2 to look. Like the what's the which? I'm terrible with names in this. The guy with the knives, Diego. Um,
Diego?
when he's starting to like investigate the time police people, whatever they're called. The
Okay.
you know, I think that looks like that's episode 8. So I still have 9 and 10
Okay.
to watch. So yeah, that's the last one I've watched. So it's I was talking to Steve about it, and he finished season 1, and he was saying that it was very what was his wording? It was very I can't remember exactly what his phrase was he used, but he pretty much he enjoyed it, but he thought there was like way too much like time travel and too many like too much going on at once.
And he said
And
that
I
about
was like,
season one.
well, yeah.
Well, season two.
There's not a whole lot in season 2.
Yeah, not maybe not as much as season one,
Like, it's
but
not
they're
as
definitely.
jarring, you know.
I mean, each person is doing their own thing at all times. They're rarely like very few very. It's not very often where they're doing the same thing together.
Oh yeah, I mean that's what you get for having, was it 6/7 main
Okay, yeah, you're
characters?
right. I take that back. There are two characters that are always doing the same thing.
Yeah, that's why I said 6/7. Like, I'm not sure if
6/7.
you.
You're right. Yeah, there are two characters that are always doing the same thing. Uh huh.
I mean, that's what you got to do with the when you have that many main characters in a show. I mean, and they're all uniquely different personalities and
Complete. Yes. Yes. They are definitely different people. 100%.
I I gotta say, this show has really made me realize I don't really like Ellen Page much.
Uh-huh.
Like, I don't hate
Yeah.
her or anything, but like she's
No.
just not really someone I'd say, "Oh yeah, I like her." You know? Like, she's just, I mean, in this she's also kind of just like, she's kind of bland. Like, there's not a lot, especially in season 2, it feels like there's not a like maybe she was like phoning it in as far as acting goes.
Mm.
And the romance like that happened seemed a little kind of
It kind of came out of nowhere.
came out of nowhere. Yeah, like
It did.
slash forced. Like,
It came out of nowhere.
maybe that's another reason why I'm like not big on her slash her character in this. Like, her storyline wasn't really all that great.
Yeah, I'll agree with. Yeah, up until that point, I'll agree with you. Like, like like everything before like that whole romance thing happened, I thought was okay. Um, but yeah. Um, yeah, I won't disagree with. I'm trying to think. Like Ellen Page really is one of those characters that doesn't really have whole lot of range. I was saying about
Really?
voice actors.
Yeah.
It's like I don't really think she's got a whole lot of range. She does quirky well,
See, and
and
I've been thinking back at like stuff I've seen her in. I didn't really like her too much in the X-Men movies. That much. And really thinking about it, I Juno was all right, but like,
I didn't care for Juno.
I was telling Steve this, that I think Juno is like way overhyped. Like,
Absolutely, absolutely.
people reference it, and it's like, oh, you got my ego preg. Okay, yeah, funny, whatever. But like, I don't know. Yeah,
Never say that again.
yeah, right. Like, I think I've seen that once, and J.K. Simmons is great in that movie, but he's great in everything.
True.
But anyways, yeah, Umbrella Academy. Boy, you think like they just don't care about like what they do back in
No,
1960, 63, right?
I think it's 65.
Is it 65? When was? Oh well, yeah. It's yeah, okay, yeah. No, JFK
63.
was assassinated in 63.
63.
So yeah,
Okay.
it was 61 to 63, right? When they, because
Yeah,
doesn't
I
she
thought
get?
I thought that was a bigger um like I thought like each one like appeared at a different year.
I don't think it was each different year. I think it was
No, it
over the
wasn't.
course of like 2 years, right?
Yeah.
I think, what was
Well,
it? Was her
it was
name
over the course of
Allison? The one,
three years.
is it 3? Okay, yeah. Oh
Because
yeah, okay, yeah, 61,
five
62, and 63. Okay, yeah.
five showed up last, and that's when
Yeah.
everything kicked off. Was when five showed up,
Yeah, but they
aka
don't
Shroud.
care like what they do and what the time. I don't really. I still don't get it. I still don't really see it much, but
He's a twin.
I don't see it. But whatever. But yeah, they don't care what they do, like, and what repercussions. Like,
No, they don't.
they
They
just
don't
don't
follow
care at
the
all. And
how will this affect the future rules? They don't care. They don't.
yeah, and you think they would, like, you think they
Well,
would have learned from, like,
some would care,
season
some
one.
wouldn't.
Like, Diego straight doesn't care at all. He just wants to, like,
No.
do what he wants to do. Like,
Yeah. Klaus
but
was
yeah,
one who just that's just his character is not caring at about anything.
yeah. It was surprising that he was sober. Like,
Well, yeah.
that was shocking. Then when it was like, oh yeah, okay, wow, yeah. But yeah, it's man, and when five the big action scene that five had was crazy.
Oh yeah,
I
I
don't
thought
want
that
to
was really
necessarily
cool.
spoil it, but that
That was
was
cool.
really
I
cool.
liked that. I was like it really kind of showed like, Five was like this big assassin for that time corporation, and like you never really saw it until like then. Like, oh
And
no, he was a badass.
the weird part about that scene was the lady who came in, like, you broke the candy machine, and she just passes all these, like, dead bodies, and she's just worried about the candy machine, the vending machine. Like,
The things that people care
it was a
about in
little.
that show is like, especially like if they're tied to that time corporation, I was like, what do you care about? I don't know what's your view on life, because like apparently it doesn't exist.
Yeah, was it the new main character they introduced? The, like, Diego love interest. I like her. She's an interesting character, I think.
Mm, yeah.
It's definitely more of the same. Season 2.
Have you figured out what her deal is though?
I'm not. I don't think so. Like,
Okay. Like you haven't guessed it or anything like that.
I'm afraid to, like, no. I'm gonna just go with no right now. Like, does it get
Okay.
revealed? Because I don't want,
Oh
like.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah, but like her whole origin and all that was very interesting.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I just got 2 more I meant to watch, like, more, but I think I was watch I think I this was like, I was breaking one of my rules, and I was watching this late at night, and I fell asleep, like, I think maybe start of episode 9 or whatever. And I just haven't gotten around to rewatching it, but yeah, I'll probably finish that up this weekend. Because I'm enjoying it. It's good. It's interesting. There's Have they confirmed a season
I
3?
hope. I think I don't know. I hope there is, because boy, that cliffhanger though.
Because it
That's
broke
a
records. Like I was saying before, Lucifer, it had the record for the highest TV premiere, viewing. But then again, that doesn't matter, because look at that show. What's that? Oh God, what's that one show? It's got Falcon in it. Season 2. Um,
Carbon.
yeah, that got canned. That's not getting to season
I
3. And
I
people love
started
that
that.
show. People watch.
I started season 2 and I fell off of it hard. Like
I've only watched a
season
couple
2 just
episodes of
did
season 1.
not catch me. And then there's also an animated show.
Yeah, but it did well. Like people watched it. People seemed to like it, but Netflix just decided no, we're not doing another season. I think that was recently too. I think that was this past week or
I think I did hear about that.
okay, I just looked again. I mean, oh no, under TV shows. Under TV shows, Sister Sister is number 2 in the US. So weird. Uh, The Office is number 8. Is The Office still on Netflix?
I think so.
I thought that was being taken out and going to Peacock. Huh.
It is still on Netflix.
Yeah, I mean, I see it, on Netflix. I did. Weird. Season 3, Umbrella Academy. I'm looking.
Not been confirmed yet.
Yeah, which is weird. But who knows? Like I was saying, Netflix. You can't tell with them. Like, you just don't know what they're gonna do.
Well, if you look on like Metacritic, like Ultra Carbon got like a 64, and its user reviews are not far away from that.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah.
Huh. Yeah, I only watched the first episode or 2 recently, like within the past month or so. It seemed interesting, but I don't know. I just ended up watching other stuff, and
it gets convoluted because of kind of what you can lose characters really quickly just because
I
it doesn't
imagine.
matter.
Yeah.
Just like the whole the main character, it changed actors between seasons, and there's an easy explanation on how that's possible. Like characters can change
Yeah.
mid season, mid episode.
I'm just trying to find
It gets
a
confusing.
new good sci-fi show. Like, I miss having good sci-fi shows to watch.
I've heard really good things
Can't think of.
about The Expanse, and like I watched like
I
half
have
the
to.
first
Yeah.
episode, and was like, I don't know right now.
Yeah, I've tried. I think I've tried to watch some of that, and then there's other ones that I've tried to watch, but it's just kind of hard to get into certain ones because I don't know. I have a sci-fi show taste, and
Yeah,
there are some sci-fi shows out there, but it's like, oh well, no, this one's actually more towards being family friendly, and it's like, I mean, okay, good, but no, it's not, I want something like something with a interesting, deep story, like was it Stargate or Farscape or uh that show Dark Matter. That was such a good show. Oh, I'm so mad it didn't. It got canceled. That gave me Firefly feels. Like,
yeah.
anyways, yeah, that's it for me. So I guess we can wrap up. We didn't have a show last week, so this one's a little long, but That's all right. Next week will be 400 though. That's crazy.
400 episodes, man.
Yeah, I mean like 10 years is big too. We hit that back in February, but
Yeah.
400 is a bigger number, so it just seems more impressive. So, next week we'll be back on our gaming tech show, and I'll have some stuff to talk about, hopefully. So that'll be, and who knows what news will pop up. You know, we're starting to get to where anything can be announced, you know, like
Right.
console launch news, stuff like that. So
Yeah, because we're getting in there. It's like, oh, you know, holidays right around the corner. You need to give us something.
yeah, November's 2 months away, so you know, there's got to be some stuff, you know, some stuff's got to come out soon.
And if you release
Anyways,
your
though,
console in December, you're too late.
oh yeah, yeah. Anyways, this has been episode 399 of the Geeks for the Win podcast. You can find all the previous episodes at thegeeksftw.com with links to our Twitch, YouTube, Discord, Twitter. Be sure to follow us on Twitter. Stuart is at Casual Terror, and I'm at WillPlayGames_. And we will catch you next time.
Bye. Oh, and remember, no animals were harmed making this podcast.